Welcome to EduCasts, home of EduCasters. Realism in education. Imagine you are walking through a dark room and you stub your toe on a coffee table. For a brief second, you might have a lot of thoughts. You might feel angry. You might wonder why the table is there. You might imagine a world where the table wasn't there, but the overwhelming, undeniable truth of that moment is the pain in your toe and the hardness of the wood. The table is real. It exists. It was there before you walked in. It is there while you are yelling in pain, and it will be there after you leave. Your opinion of the table doesn't change it. Your mental state doesn't soften the wood. The table is an objective fact of the universe. This, in a nutshell, is realism. In the world of education, realism is the philosophy of common sense. It argues that the world is made of real, physical matter that operates according to fixed natural laws. It believes that truth isn't something we make up in our heads or construct together in a group. Truth is out there, waiting to be discovered. The atomic weight of gold is a truth. The date the Declaration of Independence was signed is a truth. The rules of multiplication are truths. For a realist educator, the purpose of school is simple: to teach students the truth about the world. It is to give them the tools, reading, writing, logic, and observation, to understand the reality that surrounds them so they can survive and thrive in it. It is not about finding yourself. It is about finding the facts. The Great Split. Aristotle points down. To understand where this comes from, we have to go back to ancient Greece and look at one of the most famous disagreements in history. We have talked about Plato, the father of idealism, who believed that the physical world was just a messy, imperfect shadow of a perfect world of ideas. He thought reality was in the mind. Plato had a student named Aristotle. Aristotle looked at his teacher and essentially said, "I respect you, but you're wrong." Aristotle argued that we don't need to look at some mystical world of ideas to find the truth. The truth is right here. It's in the plants, the stars, the soil, and the human body. In the famous painting, The School of Athens by Raphael, you can see this difference perfectly. Plato is standing on the left, pointing his finger up toward the heavens, the world of ideas. Aristotle is standing on the right, holding his hand out flat, palm down toward the earth. He is saying, the truth is here, in the reality we can see and touch. Aristotle is the father of realism. He was the first great classifier. He didn't just think about biology. He went out, collected specimens, dissected them, and categorized them. He believed that by observing the physical world carefully, we could understand the laws that govern it. This shift, from looking in, at the mind, to looking out, at the world, changed everything. It laid the foundation for the scientific method and for the way we teach today. The core beliefs. The pillars of reality. Realism is a very practical philosophy, but it rests on some deep beliefs about how the universe works. If you walk into a realist classroom, these are the unwritten rules that run the show. 1. The world is objective. It doesn't care about you. This is the biggest pill to swallow, especially in our modern my truth culture. Realism says there is no my truth or your truth. There is only the truth. Reality is objective, meaning it exists outside of our minds. If every human on Earth disappeared tomorrow, the Pythagorean theorem would still be true. The planets would still orbit the sun. The laws of physics would still apply. Therefore, the student's job is not to create their own reality, but to conform to the one that already exists. We don't teach students that 2 + 2 = 4 because we feel like it's right. We teach it because it is right. It is a law of the universe. 2. Knowledge comes through the senses. If the world is made of matter, then the way we learn about it is through our senses: sight, hearing, touch, smell, and taste. Realists rely heavily on sensation and abstraction. First, you use your senses to gather data. You look at 100 different trees. You see they all have trunks, leaves, and roots. Then, you use your brain, logic, to abstract the concept of tree. This brings us to another huge figure in realism, John Locke. In the 1600s, Locke argued against the idea that we are born with innate ideas, like the idea of God or math. He said the human mind at birth is a tabula rasa, a blank slate. There is nothing in the mind that wasn't first in the senses. We are born empty, and our experiences write on us. This gives education massive power. If the child is a blank slate, then the school creates the person by choosing what to write on that slate. 3. Nature is orderly and understandable. Realists are not chaotic. They believe the universe is a giant, well-oiled machine. It runs on cause and effect. It follows patterns. Because the world is orderly, the curriculum should be orderly. You don't teach chemistry by mixing random stuff together to see what happens. You teach the periodic table. You teach the rules of bonding. You teach the systematic classification of matter. Realism loves categories, definitions, and systems. 4. Values are determined by natural laws. This is where it gets tricky. Realists believe that good behavior is behavior that aligns with the laws of nature. For a scientific realist, good might mean healthy or sustainable. For a religious realist, like Thomas Aquinas, good means aligning with the natural laws God put into the universe. But either way, morality isn't just a feeling, it's a code. Just as there are physical laws, gravity, there are moral laws. Cheating is wrong, not just because the teacher says so, but because it violates the social contract and the reality of trust needed for a society to function. The curriculum, just the facts, ma'am. So, what do we actually teach in a realist school? If you looked at the essay on naturalism, you saw a curriculum based on the child's whims. If you looked at constructivism, you saw a curriculum based on projects and problems. In realism, the curriculum is subject-centered. It is all about the content. The realist asks, what is the most important knowledge that the human race has accumulated? Then they organize that knowledge into neat, distinct buckets, subjects, and feed it to the student. 1. The sciences are king. Realism is the best friend of STEM, science, technology, engineering, math. These are the subjects that describe the physical reality most accurately. Math is the language of the universe. Physics is the rule book of matter. Biology is the study of life. In a realist school, these are the hard subjects and they are prioritized. 2. Reading and writing as tools. Literature is fine, but for a realist, the main value of language is communication. You learn to read so you can access information. You learn to write so you can describe reality accurately. Realist writing is nonfiction, reports, essays, and technical writing. It values clarity and precision over flowery poetry. 3. History as the record of reality. Realists don't teach history as a story or a narrative, like Bruner might. They teach it as the record of what actually happened. Dates, battles, names, treaties. These are facts. To understand the present, you must have an accurate factual knowledge of the past. 4. The basics. Realism is often associated with the back to basics movement. When people complain that schools are spending too much time on self-esteem or social skills, they are making a realist argument. They are saying, teach them to read, count, and know the capitals of the states. Everything else is fluff.